Shri Guru Charitra, Chapter 7 Gokarna Sthala Mahatmya. This chapter describes the Gokarna Kshetra Mahatmya. Gokarna had so much sanctity that Sripada Srivallabha chose to visit and spend some years there. A visit to this holy place burns off all sins, however much grievous they be, and earns for the person Kailasha Pada. Gautama Rishi narrates to King Mitrasahu, who was under a curse, how a Chandala woman with sins galore on her head earns Kailashapada by the mere coincidence of her dying at the holy Gokarna. Namdharak was thrilled with joy listening to the origin of Gokarna Mahabaleshwar. He said to Siddha Yogi, "From what you have said, I believe that the place must be spiritually very powerful and it should have been conferring immense benefits materially, morally, and spiritually on all the pilgrims visiting there. I am eager to hear of any instance in which anyone had derived such benefits from making a pilgrimage to the place." In reply to this, Siddha Yogi narrated the following anecdote. In the Ikshvaku race, there was once a king by name Mitrasahu. He was a very pious, noble, and kind-hearted king. He treated his subjects as his own children and was ever engaged in promoting their welfare. Vasishtha Maharishi was his family guru and priest. The king, however, had one weakness or vice, that is, his craze and fondness for hunting. The king once went out for hunting and killed many wild animals. Thereafter, he confronted a wicked Rakshasa and wounded him mortally. The Rakshasa, before falling down dead, told his brother that he should take revenge of his death. The brother Rakshasa took the guise of a human form, went to the king's place, and managed to become the palace cook. One day there was a Shraddh ceremony in the royal family. Meat is forbidden on such a day. As the Brahmin priests and rishis would come to partake of the food, the vicious Rakshasa surreptitiously cooked human flesh on that day and, taking everyone unawares, served it to the Brahmin priests instead of the vegetarian food which was supposed to be served. The priests got enraged and were furious, and on the spur of the moment, without waiting to know the truth, cursed the king that he would become a Brahma Rakshasa. The king was about to curse the priests in revenge, taking water in his palm for the purpose, when the queen restrained him, saying it was not proper for anyone to curse the priests. The king then let the water from his palm drop on his own feet. The feet got charred, and because of this, he came to be known as Kalmasha Pada. Vasishtha Maharishi, realizing that the king was really innocent, felt sorry for the curse uttered and told the king that he was blessing him that the curse would last only for 12 years, at the end of which he would get back his normal form. The king became, because of the curse, a Brahma Rakshasa and made the forest his habitation. He used to kill and eat whichever or whoever came by that way, whether they be animals, beasts, or human beings. One day a Brahmin couple happened to be passing through the forest. The Brahma Rakshasa caught hold of the Brahmin and, ignoring the requests and plaintive pleadings of the wife, who was imploring him to consider her as his own daughter and spare her husband's life, mercilessly killed the Brahmin and devoured him. At this, the wife of the Brahmin, who was then suddenly widowed because of the bloodthirstiness of the Rakshasa, cursed him, saying, "Although after the expiry of 12 years you are going to get back your human form, if you try to court the pleasure of your wife, you will instantly drop down dead, and your queen would become a widow like me." Thereafter, the woman, along with the bones of her dead husband, did Sahagamana and ended her life. The king, after the expiry of the curse period of 12 years, was rid of the form of Brahma Rakshasa. Having become normal again, he returned to his kingdom. He confided to the queen the curse of the Brahmin woman. Hearing so, the queen was heartbroken, as the prospect of her getting a son was now doomed. Seeing the grief of the queen, the king consulted the wise men of the court and the priests to find out whether they could suggest him any way to escape from the curse. They advised him that if the royal couple could make pilgrimages to holy places and do their offerings to the gods, the power of the curse would at least get mitigated, and with divine grace, it would perhaps even be overcome altogether. The king and the queen set out on pilgrimage to most of the holy places of the land, doing severe penances at those places. They came to Mithilapur at last. They were very exhausted and sat down under the shade of a tree to rest. At this juncture, the king saw the illustrious sage Gautama passing by, along with a group of other rishis. The king ran towards him and fell prostrate at the sage's feet and prayed that he should save him from the curse of the Brahmin woman and show him the way to expiate the sin of Brahma Hatya. Sage Gautama told the king that he should visit the holy Gokarna. His pilgrimage to the holy place would expiate his sin for certain. The sage said that all the gods, even all the celestial beings, make pilgrimage to Gokarna for expiating their sins and to earn merit. He said that even Brahma and Vishnu visited the holy place and did penances for a long time in order to earn merit. The sage cited instances of the incomparable redeeming power of the holy place. The greatest sins like killing or causing the death of a Brahmin, a cow, etc., could be expiated by a pilgrimage to and worship at Gokarna. He narrated the following incident, which he himself had witnessed just a few days ago. The sage saw a low caste woman at Gokarna. She was blind and was suffering from a dreadful disease. She was very exhausted and was very hungry. She begged for food but could not manage to get anything. Due to exhaustion and hunger, she died. As soon as she died, messengers of Shiva came near her in a celestial Vimana to take her to Kailash. But at the same time, the messengers of Yama also arrived there. Both the groups were laying their claims on the jiva of the dead woman. Gautama inquired of them as to why this conflict and confrontation should arise between them. The Yamadutas said that the woman was a very sinful person. The sins she committed in her life were gravest, and what she deserved were only the tortures and fires of hell. But the Shivadutas said that although she had committed many sins, yet, as she had died at the holy Gokarna, Lord Shiva had granted her Kailashapada and had sent them to fetch for her. Her past story was as follows. The woman in her previous birth was born in a Brahmin family. Her name was Saudamini. She was very beautiful and charming. When she was 10 years old, she was married, but her husband died only after a few years of the marriage. In course of time, unable to control her sensuous desires and passions of youth, she yielded and started living with a Vani from her neighborhood. She also got addicted to drink and other evil habits. Once, after drinking wine, in her intoxication, she killed a calf for food, mistaking it for a goat. At that time, the Vani was away. When she came to her senses, it was time for milking the cow and she went for milking. But the cow, not finding its calf nearby, did not yield any milk. The woman felt death scared as to how her husband and neighbors would react when they would come to know what she had done. She pretended to weep and told that a tiger had killed the calf and run away with it. Everyone believed it to be true. After some years, the woman died and was taken to hell. She was put to great torture there. This woman was later reborn as a Chandali. She was very ugly. As she grew up, she lost her sight and became blind. She was overtaken by leprosy. As long as her parents were alive, they took care of her and looked after her. After she lost her parents, there was none to take care of her. She never had enough food to eat. She was suffering great misery. In the holy month of Magha, she decided to travel to Gokarna along with a group of pilgrims for the festival of Shivratri. She thought if she accompanied them, they would give her also something to eat during the journey, but the pilgrims did not take to her kindly. On the day of the festival too, she had to fast as none too had given her anything to eat. She received a few bilwa leaves instead, which while being distributed among the pilgrims. In anger, she flung them away. Lo! The bilwa leaves, although she never intended it, fell right on the Shivalinga. In a few moments after this, the woman, who was famished and exhausted, died. Even the least worship, either done with devotion or without devotion, knowingly or unknowingly, is enough to please Shiva. Thus, the Chandali earned the favor and grace of Shiva. The merit earned by her was all the more because it happened to be done at Gokarna, the abode of Shiva's Atmalinga, and besides, that day was a holy Shivratri day. Therefore, no sooner did the woman die than Lord Shankara sent his messengers to bring her to Kailasha. Hearing the narrative of the Shivadutas, the men of Yama beat a retreat, leaving the woman in the hands of the Shivadutas. Such being the glory and power of Gokarna, Gautama Rishi advised the king to go to Gokarna and do penance there, and assured him that he would be thereby freed from the curse. The king, as advised by Gautama Rishi, made a pilgrimage to Gokarna, did penance there, and thereby got rid of the curse. Thereafter, he lived happily with his wife, was blessed with sons, and lived for a long time. Thus ends the 7th chapter of Sri Guru Charitra, describing the redeeming power of the holy Gokarna Kshetra. Glory to the all merciful, the omnipresent, and the ever responsive Gurunath.